Hello everybody. Today we'll discuss physiology of cardiac cycle part 2, pressure volume changes during cardiac cycle. In the first lecture we have seen the cardiac cycle, events of cardiac cycle. We have seen events of atrial cycle and events of ventricular cycle. In today's lecture we will learn regarding heart sounds and murmurs during cardiac cycle, pressure changes in left ventricle, pressure changes in aorta, pressure changes in right ventricle, pressure changes in pulmonary artery, volume changes in ventricle, and lastly right atrial pressure changes and JVP. To start with, again just we'll have a recap of events of cardiac cycle: atrial systole, atrial diastole, ventricle systole, ventricular diastole. This is duration is 0.8 second at the heart rate of 72 beats per minute. Atrial systole is 0.1 second, atrial diastole is 0.7 second, ventricular systole is 0.3 seconds, and ventricular diastole is 0.5 second. The duration total becomes of 0.8 seconds. And the events are, just to recap: isovolumetric contraction phase, rapid ejection phase, and slow ejection phase. These are the events of ventricular systole. In the diastole, we are having protodiastole phase, isovolumetric relaxation phase, first rapid filling, slow filling, and last rapid filling phase, which coincides with atrial systole. In this diagram, we can have a clear-cut recap of overlap of different phases of cardiac cycle. This is a 0.1 second duration each. I have made 8 segments of this total cycle. Okay, in that inner one, this is of atria, and this outer one, this is for the ventricle. So here we can see how the events overlap each other of atrial and ventricular cycle. So atrial systole is of 0.1 second, we know this is of 0.1, and rest is 0.7 second is atrial diastole. This outer one of 0.3 second is of ventricular systole, this 0.5 second of ventricular diastole. Again further ventricular systole, you can see initial 0.05 second of isovolumetric contraction phase, rapid ejection phase, and slow ejection phase. In the diastole, first segment, that is a protodiastole, second isovolumetric relaxation phase, first rapid filling phase, slow filling phase, and this you can see last rapid filling phase, it is coinciding with atrial systole. Okay, that's why here when atria is second contraction of atria starts, still ventricle is relaxing. Now we'll see the events of heart sounds. So these are the both AV valves. When the ventricle contracts at initiation, immediately the valves closes as the pressure inside the ventricle is more than the atria, and blood will try to go back. This will lead to generation of first heart sound. Now the second heart sound is caused during ventricular diastole, when the pressure falls below the systemic circulation. So the S2 is due to closure of semilunar valves, aortic and pulmonary valve. And during diastole, suddenly when the valve gets open, there is gush of blood from the atria. So in this, the atria was relaxed for almost 0.4 seconds. So this rapid gush of blood, so it's just like waterfall effect. This is the S3. And S4, it is the last part of the ventricular diastole, which is coinciding with atrial systole. So because of this, again with extra pressure, blood will come. So this is the S4. Under normal condition, these two are audible to an ordinary stethoscope. These three are rarely audible in healthy individual also. And sometimes when the ventricle is stiff, you can have this sound. Okay. And sometimes in anemia, because of the viscosity also, you can have this sounds. But the second heart sound, you can see here, on the left side it is aorta, and right side it is a pulmonary artery. There is a basically gross pressure difference across the two circulation. Systemic circulation, here pressure we know is maximum 120 millimeters of mercury, and pulmonary it is only 25 millimeters of mercury. That's why when a person is taking a deep inspiration, this will have a difference in the closure of both of this wall because of pressure. So we will have a physiological split that we'll see during subsequent topic. So first harsh sound caused by closure of AV wall, second due to aortic and pulmonary wall, third due to inrush of blood, and fourth due to last part of the cardiac cycle where atria contracts coincides. So there is a physiological split of second heart sound due to the pressure difference in aorta and pulmonary artery. When a person is taking a deep inspiration, there can be a simple split. We can have 2 second sounds. So it is called as a physiological split. So interval between aortic and pulmonary wall closure during inspiration is frequently long enough for the second hearts to be reduplicated. So this is again physiological. We can have a 2 sounds of S2 because of the gross pressure gradient across aorta and pulmonary arteries. We can have a split. So this can happen in normal individual. Now apart from this sounds heard by stethoscope, we can have additional sounds in abnormal condition. These are called as murmurs. So apart from these 4 heart sounds, some additional sound if it is present. So murmurs or bruit are abnormal sounds heard in various parts of vascular system. Now these are the key to diagnose cardiac conditions. For this we must understand again the cardiac cycle, then only we can exactly localize what is site of lesion. So from murmurs will guide us to find site of lesion in a cardiac disease. So major but not certainly the only cause of cardiac murmur is valve disease. So majority of the murmurs is due to the valvular problems. Can be stenosis, can be regurgitation also. But sometimes soft systolic murmurs are also commonly heard, especially in children who have no cardiac disease. Sometimes this can be present. This is a physiological variation. And sometimes in case of anemia without any cardiac disease also you can have systolic murmurs heard in anemia patient as a result of low viscosity of blood and rapid flow takes place. So these are the 2 physiological variations we have to consider. That's why I always repeat, you have to auscultate thousands of patients to have a clear cut what is the normal. Maybe respiratory sounds, maybe heart sounds. Okay, you should have a clear cut idea what are the normal heart sounds. Then only murmur will get clicked to you. Now let's see what are the cause of the murmurs. So when the ventricle is contracting, that is the systole. So we can have 4 types of murmurs. Now this is the aortic wall. So this can get narrowed. So when it is narrowed, it is called as a stenosis. Okay, this is the aortic wall. Here I am pointing. This is the aortic wall. So it can get narrowed. So here you can see it is narrowing now. Okay, this wall is narrowed. So when this get narrowed, so when blood is moving, it will create a sound. Simple, when you are using any pipe of water, when you press on that one, with the pressure, water is coming, it is giving some sound. Same sound is here. So this sound due to passage of blood through aortic wall is called as the AS, aortic stenosis. Okay, this will happen during ventricular contraction or systole. Same can happen at this pulmonary also. This can again get narrowed. So that is called as a pulmonary stenosis. Similarly, sound is produced here also. That is of sound of PS. So you can have murmurs of this also. Then this is the tricuspid wall, that is AV wall. Now if that is stiffened or flattened, it will not close during ventricular contraction. When means blood will try to go back from here, it will allow some blood to go back from ventricle to atria. This is called as regurgitation. So it is called as a TR. Again, because of this sound comes, that is abnormal sound. Blood is trying to go back from ventricle back to atria. So this sound is called as TR sound, tricuspid regurgitation. Similarly, we can have at this mitral wall, this wall if it gets stiff, not closing during systole, like this it is flattened. So again the sound is called as MR. So like this, these 4 sounds of pulmonary stenosis, aortic stenosis, tricuspid regurgitation and mitral regurgitation, they are audible during ventricular systole, ventricular contraction. So that's what these are called as systolic murmurs. So these are the systolic murmurs. On the contrary, when ventricle is relaxed under this condition also we can have some sounds. For example, this is the tricuspid wall. If this wall is narrowed like this, okay, now what will happen when blood is coming from atria to the ventricle? We'll have a sound. So this is called as TS, tricuspid stenosis. This is heard when the ventricle is relaxed or under the diastole. This wall, mitral wall, okay, this is narrowing. So when blood is coming from atria to the ventricle, again sound will be there. So that sound is MS, mitral stenosis murmur. This is our pulmonary wall. If it is again stiff, will not close, blood will come back from pulmonary artery back to the ventricle. So this is called as the PR, that is called as pulmonary regurgitation. Similarly, here at the aorta, blood will try to come back from aorta back to the ventricle when the wall is not closing properly. So it is called as the AR, aortic regurgitation. So these murmurs, due to all this, they are heard during ventricular relaxation or ventricular diastole. So like this, these murmurs are labeled as systolic murmurs and these are labeled as diastolic murmurs. Is it clear? So these are because of abnormality of the walls. Either wall is shortened, that is stenosis, or wall is not closing properly during closure. So that is regurgitation. So regurgitation means blood will go back opposite direction. In stenosis it is going in same direction, but because of the narrowed opening it is creating some sound. So this sound is called as a murmur. Okay. So like this, in this table I have shown aortic and pulmonary wall abnormality. If it is a stenosis, this will be a systolic murmur. If it is regurgitation, means blood going back in opposite direction, it will be a diastolic murmur. Similarly, mitral stenosis, a diastolic murmur, and regurgitation, it is a systolic murmurs. So this is regarding the murmurs, which are abnormal sounds heard in cardiovascular system. Now let's see the pressure changes in the left ventricle. So this is the ventricular systolic phase, diastolic phase. Okay, now you can see at the end of diastole or beginning of systole, pressure is 0 here. Okay, now this is the first phase. This is the isovolumetric contraction phase. The pressure is rising. You can see it is rising above 80. Okay, so at this point the wall gets open. So this is the ejection phase. You can see the pressure is going from 0 up to 120 milliliters of mercury. Okay. Now this is the phase in which pressure falls down. This is called as the isovolumetric relaxation phase of ventricular diastole. Initially protodiastole was there. After that isovolumetric relaxation phase, and in the diastole pressure is 0. So this is the left ventricular pressure changes. From 0 in the diastole, it is going maximum up to 120 during systole. So to parallel with this is the aortic pressure. You can see it is 80 or 70. Okay, it is constant during isovolumetric contraction phase as the walls are closed. Once the wall is open, the seminal wall gets open here, pressure will rise in proportion with the ventricular pressure. So peak pressure is seen like this. Okay, again after that, when the ventricles start to relax, blood will try to go back. Now in that there is a notch created. Now blood will try to go back through seminal walls, and there is notch created. It's called as a dichrotic notch, which is visible under our pulse tracing. Okay, small notch creates when blood tries to go back from aorta to the back to the ventricle. Okay, after that pressure remains like this only. So in the diastole, pressure in the aorta will not come to 0. Okay, so this is because of Wien-Kessel effect. We will discuss during hemodynamics. In the ventricle, pressure becomes 0, but in aorta pressure will not come to 0. So in the aorta it is between 80 to 120 millimeters of mercury range. So this is the highest pressure, that's what it is called as the systolic pressure. This is the lowest pressure in the vessel during diastole, that's what it's called as a diastolic pressure. So in the great vessels, pressure systolic and diastolic is based on the events of cardiac cycle. Highest pressure during systole is called as the systolic pressure, and lowest pressure during diastolic phase is called as the diastolic pressure. So it is around 80. Now there is variation is there. There is physiological variation 120 plus minus 15 systolic, 80 plus minus 10 diastolic. Okay, so that's why you will have this graph will be different in different individual, but physiological variations are there. Now atrial events. Okay, now this is the atrial pressure. Okay, blue line I am showing here. So now you can see this is the during atrial systole pressure becomes here around 5 millimeters of mercury or 5-6 whatever is there. So this is the first wave generated in the atrial pressure. After that, now here you can see when the ventricle is contracting as a closed chamber here, the ventricle will press the AV walls. So they will bulge back in the atria. This will create again a rise in pressure in the atria. So this second wave is created in the atria. After that, due to continuous accumulation of blood in the atria, there is again rise in pressure in the atria. So these three peaks we are getting in atrial pressure, right atrial pressure. First is called as a A, it is due to atrial systole. C, it is due to bulging of AV walls back in the atria during isovolumetric contraction phase of ventricle. And C, V wave, it is due to continuous accumulation of blood in the atrium. So these three waves are there of atrial radial pressure. It is also called as JVP because through jugular vein we can have this tracing. Jugular vein is in direct communication with right atrium. So indirectly jugular venous pressure is indicator of right atrial pressure. So it is called as a JVP, jugular venous pressure tracing. So we are getting these three positive waves A, C and V, and two negative waves. This is X and Y. This is X and this is Y due to change in the pressures. Okay. So now this heart sounds location we will see. First heart sound S1 is caused due to closure of AV walls. It is beginning of systole. Second heart sound S2 due to closure of seminal walls, beginning of diastole. S3, it is opening of AV walls, sudden gush of blood. And last S4, it is last part coinciding with atrial systole, that is S4. Okay. So peak pressure in the left and right ventricles are about 120 and 25 millimeters of mercury. Means 25 in the right ventricle, 120 in the left ventricle. About 70% of ventricular filling occurs passively during diastole. Contraction of atria propels some additional blood into the ventricles. The duration of systole is much more fixed than that of the diastole. If we just recall our cardiac muscle action potential, majority of the systole is in the absolute refractory period. Means even if a second impulse is coming, heart will not show second contraction unless until some relaxation comes. And when relaxation starts, that time you can have a second stimulus. So that's why. So when heart rate is increased, diastole is shortened to much more greater degree as compared to systole. Because systole is normally being covered by absolute refractory period. So in increase in heart, the diastole is compromised more. Now this volume changes in the ventricle. In both ventricles it is seen. This is the systolic phase. These are the diastolic phase. So you can see this is at the end of diastole, whatever volume is there. So it is around 120 to 30. So this will level at end diastolic volume, atrial systole. Now here we can see end diastolic volume. Now as the systole starts, volume goes on reducing because when ventricle is ejecting the blood, blood is removed from the ventricle. So at the end of systole, whatever amount of blood remains, that is called as end systolic volume. So this much amount of blood is pumped from ventricle in each stroke. So this is the stroke volume and this is the ejection fraction. Okay, this much amount of blood was pumped out of 120. Okay, so it is, you can see here around 60 ml of blood was pumped. So this is the 60 out of 120. So like this, almost 50% you can see here, 50, 60, 70. So average ejection fraction is 65%, indicating a normal functioning of left ventricle. Okay, so this is the volume changes in the ventricles. So this is the last part which is coinciding with the, again here the more blood, some amount of blood is coming to the ventricles. So end diastolic volume is around 130 ml, stroke volume is around 70 to 90 ml, and systolic volume is around 50 ml. So ejection fraction is around 65%. That is the indicator of ventricular function. Now right side of the heart is having a bit lower pressure, so it is a pulmonary circulation is a bit of lower pressure system. This is the, you can see here, this is the right ventricle. So you can see 15 millimeter mercury only. Systole, same duration. So this is the right ventricular pressure changes. You can see the difference here. It is hardly this much, from 0 to 30 only. In the left ventricle, systemic circulation is 0 to 120 millimeters of mercury. Here it is 0 to 30 millimeters of mercury only, because musculature of left ventricle is 3 times more as compared to the right ventricle. And right ventricle is supplying only to the lungs. Left ventricle is supplying to the whole body. So it is a lower pressure system. Similarly, in the pulmonary artery, you can see the pressure here is 15 millimeter of mercury only during a diastole. Peak becomes 30 during systole, 25 to 30. Same, a notch will be there. Blood is trying to go back from the pulmonary artery back to the ventricles. This is the pressure. So pulmonary pressure. So this is the right side. Systole. Okay. So this is the right side of the heart. Now in this combined we have shown, this is the book diagram from the Guyton. AV wall is closed. AV wall is open. So this is the isovolumetric contraction phase. Pressure here, ejection. Blood will try to come back. AV wall closures around it is between 90. So now this variation will be there obviously based on the difference in variation. As I have told you, top blood pressure is 120 average we are telling, but it can be plus minus 10. It can be 110, it can be 130. Similarly, diastolic pressure is again 80 plus minus 10. It can be 70, it can be 90 also. So, but basic concept is of wall opening and closure is simply changing the gradient. Okay, whenever pressure across one side is more, for example, pressure in the aorta is more as compared to the ventricle, the blood will try to come back from aorta to the ventricle, wall will close. At what pressure doesn't matter. Basically what matters is pressure differences. Even 1 millimeter pressure is more, the wall will get closed. Even 1 millimeter pressure is more, wall will get open. At 80, it is equal, 81 will get open. So what pressure doesn't matter. This will be difference in different individual according to the race and physiological variation. What important in the dynamics is, there is a difference in pressure is important. Even with 1 millimeter of mercury, wall will get opened, wall will get closed. So this red we are showing is the left ventricular pressure changes. Okay, all they are, this is the diastasis phase. Okay, diastasis phase means the ventricle is relaxing, atria is also relaxing, blood is flowing from the atria to the ventricle continuously. Okay, there is no contraction on either side. So that is the diastasis phase. Okay, this is the aortic pressure changes, which is in dots. Okay, like this. And similarly, the volumes you can see, these are the volume changes. Okay, you can see here, this is the end diastolic volume, which is around 130. With here the ventricle is contracting, pressure is rising, and here blood is ejected out. Okay, when ventricle is contracting, blood is ejected, volume will go on reducing. So in ejection phase, pressure is rising, volume is reducing. Okay, now in the isovolumetric relaxation phase and contraction phase, volume is constant, blood is not moving. And as the ventricle is relaxing, blood is coming to the ventricle, volume is rising. Okay, so this cycle continues. Now here we are coinciding with the electrical events of heart. You can see here this P wave is before the atrial contraction. Okay, and this QRX complex is before the ventricular contraction. Okay, so the electrical events will lead to mechanical events. Okay, similarly these are the heart sounds which are recorded by phonocardiogram. diagram which I have shown in from the Guyton. Okay, same you can see here. You can see the volume rises in the diastole. Isovolumetric contraction phase, volume remains constant. As the heart begins to contract, pressure rises. So here there is a pressure rise due to isovolumetric contraction phase. Pressure is rising here like this. Okay, after that, with ventricular contraction, ejection, okay, volume is decreasing, pressure goes back. After that, when ventricles start to relax, wall gets closed, and again pressure falls in the isovolumetric relaxation phase. Volume remains constant, cycle continues. Okay, so this is the contraction, this is the relaxation. Okay, again I'm repeating, don't bother about this pressures, because basically dynamics is change in the pressure is important. This will varies. Okay, because you can see in this diagram they have seen this here 80 they have shown here. Okay, and this is the basically peak pressure by the ventricle which can get generated. It's around 280 millimeters of mercury. Okay, that much pressure can be there. So maximum pressure can be this much. Okay, so here we are completing the pressure volume changes during cardiac cycle. So like this we have seen heart sounds. There are 4 heart sounds are there. Murmurs, we can have the murmurs due to this all 8 valves in 2 different events during systole and the diastole. Pressure we have seen in the left ventricle maximum 120 visible. Pressure changes in the aorta we have seen. Pressure changes in the right ventricle and pulmonary arteries. So this is the low pressure system. Here it is pressure is maximum 25 to 30, but in the left ventricle it is around 120. Volume changes we have seen in the ventricles at the end of systole and the end of diastole. Then we have seen right atrial pressure changes and JVP. Thank you. So next we will discuss the cardiac output.